Hello everyone, Foronen here to demonstrate how easy it is to get started with artificial intelligence on your local computer, thanks to the new large language model revolution. First, this is regular Ubuntu 22.04. I haven't done that much fancy to it other than switch to the Sway window manager. And note that my GPU here is an Intel Coffee Lake processor. That is, this is an integrated graphics card and not the kind of graphics card that you run machine learning on. So I will be using my CPU to be running my machine learning tasks. To get started, head to this GitHub link for Ubuga text-generation-webui. Text-generation-webui is a user interface to allow you to do text generation tasks with a large language model, and it manages lots of accelerations of the large language model for you, making this significantly easier. Here is the Linux installation link. Download the zip, and when the download completes, we'll take that and copy it to the place that we want to have it. Zip. And here is the downloaded file. All we need to do is enable execution on the Start Linux script, which is not necessary on other platforms. For example, on Windows, you just double-click the bat file. Say Start for your platform, and it will begin to install the environment necessary to perform machine learning on your machine. If you don't already have Anaconda or some kind of Conda environment manager, it will install a mini Conda into that folder. That is, to delete everything that you're doing, all you have to do is delete the folder that you initially unzipped. Everything is installed underneath that folder. Now I've reached the point where it's asking what GPU I have. I don't have any GPU supported by this accelerator, so I'm just going to tell it D, none, no GPU, I'll run in CPU mode. Now it's installing a huge number of Python packages. This is going to take a while. It says more hidden at the bottom. Just let it run. It'll be over quite quickly. While this is running, I'm going to start another download, which is for the model that I want to run. In order to run in a CPU-only environment, you need a model that is going to run quickly, because otherwise you're going to be sitting there ages and ages waiting for the tokens to come out. The models that will run quickly on a CPU environment are GGML models. The smaller the better. I'm going with WizardLM 7B Uncensored GGML, quantized by the bloke, originally created by E. Hartford. To install it, the instructions for how to use it with text-generation-webui are right down here. You can just click through, and it says, for a pre-converted model, like the GGML model that we have here, just place the model in the models folder, making sure it contains GGML somewhere in the name and ends in .bin. So we can download any of these bin files that matches the quantization that we want. Now, these new K quantizations require the latest version of Llama CPP. That might be out by the time that this video is up, but we don't have them quite yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and download the simple Q41 quantization right here. And I click this button to download that quantization. It's now downloading the quantized model. You can see it says GGML and it ends in .bin. Of course, it's competing for download speed with all of the Python downloads, so I'll come back to this when we get a bit further. Alright, here we are with the completed download, and the startup process of the Ubuga server has completed. We have our HTTP URL. This is a local URL for our computer, p//127.0.0.1. That is the local host IP address. That is, it is saying to connect from one program on your computer to another without changing some settings in the tool, nobody else is able to connect to your copy of Ubuga remotely. Open this up, and now we are at the Ubuga main screen. However, if we go to the Model tab, we have no models yet. As it warns us here, we haven't downloaded any model yet. That is why I was running this download. What we want to do is kill the Ubuga server with Control-C and close the WebUI, and now copy from my Downloads folder the wizard.lm file into text-generation-webui models. Actually, to move it, but this will work too. Then we just run the Start Linux script again, and Ubuga will boot right up with our previous installation. And now you can see it's already loaded the model, but I'm going to go through the process anyway for future models. We go to the Models tab, select the model we want to load, and then, if it doesn't do it already, we can click Reload the model, and it will tell us it's successfully loaded. Now in the Text Generation tab, we can talk to the Basic Assistant character. This is the character set by the Chat Settings tab. Your name is you, the character's name is Assistant, and this is what the character should be like. It is a computer program designed to help you with various tasks such as answering questions, providing recommendations, and helping with decision making. You can ask it anything you want, and it will do its best to give you accurate and relevant information. This is sometimes referred to as a system message. It's the description for how the AI is trying to behave. So, let's ask it, how do I build a blimp? And just like that, we are getting text generated on your local computer, so nobody on the internet knows what you're making unless you share it. And this text is generated with your computer's CPU. There's no need for an expensive graphics card, just sufficient RAM to load the model, and the WebUI to actually run the model on your CPU. You can see the generation speed isn't that great. That is dependent on how well quantized the model you choose is and how large that model is. The smaller the model, the faster it will run. The more quantization, that is, the worse quality the weights are, the faster it will run, because it has to ship less information from your computer's memory. If we open the GNOME System Monitor, I can show you that my RAM usage from this process, I'm only using 4.8 gigabytes of RAM on my entire computer. Let's sort by memory usage, and here is that Python process. We've loaded barely a gigabyte of RAM to do this text generation. And so this can fit very large models, as long as you don't mind very low tokens per second, or possibly high seconds per token. This is all that's necessary to run AI. From here, you can start changing the character settings, save that character, and interact with characters doing all kinds of other things on your computer. Especially nice to look at this in chat mode. In addition, if we head to interface mode, we can go to notebook mode. In notebook mode, we're replacing the idea of interacting with a character with instead asking the model directly to generate text. So let's try to generate a small news article. We'll start with National Highway Safety and Transportation Administration announces new regulations on purple unicorns ridden at highway speeds. I've just hit Shift-Enter to begin generation, and now it is beginning to generate a completely fake story about NHTSA safety regulations for purple unicorns. This is the power of language models. And this is what makes them so cool. That's everything I've got for you today. Have a great time, and I'll see you next time.